Good evening, Facebook family. We're here sitting here just waiting for people to come on tonight, and so we can welcome you into the broadcast tonight and just give you the thanks you deserve for continuing to tune in with us. And we just want to thank you for tuning in tonight. We have one person looking in already. I'm not exactly sure who it is at the moment, but we got the people starting to come on.
It's Kathy Lang.
How you doing, Miss Kathy?
And some other folks, if you type your name in, we'll know who you are and can say hi. If you don't mind to share it, we'd appreciate that. And we want you to share with friends, family, anybody, groups, anybody you think can benefit from the conversation that we're having, anybody who might be interested in just making their marriage better, understanding marriage relationship better. Miss Olivia Smiley, I think it's from Evergreen Church, has joined us. So we'll give time for some more folks to come on, and we're going to take the time to share to our Facebook pages as well. The broadcast last week was broken up into two parts due to service interruption due to the weather, or internet service interruption due to the bad weather last week, the rainy weather. Hey, Sister Jackie Bacon. And so we're going to repost last week's lesson as a whole. Our media team has done some magic to condense those videos into one. And once we get that, we will replace the two videos with the one, just to make it easier to watch. So if for some reason you go back and try to, if you shared it or whatever, and that link doesn't work anymore, that's the reason why. We will have replaced it with a condensed video of one instead of those two parts from last week. So thanks to our media team for taking on that task and making that happen. So we have lots of people chiming in. I didn't see everyone, but I saw the Browns, Charles and Francine. I think I saw Miss Jennifer and her mom, Miss Gloria Lawrence, watching. Okay, so I'm going to stop touching because apparently I'm messing stuff up. So can we forward it though so we can see as people chime in?
Yeah, we can.
As people join in.
If I could go up as they continue to join.
Okay, well that's old. Mm-hmm. What's currently there is old. Can we go up some? There's a stylus if you rather use that. There we go. Yeah. All right. Everyone saying hello, and hello to you guys too, and welcome. I'm gonna.
Hello to the Waltons.
Yes, with that beautiful baby. I'm so excited to eventually meet him. I know the pandemic has kept us apart, but we are looking forward to meeting baby Joey one day. Hopefully he'll still be a baby. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to open my Facebook page so I can share as well. We hope tonight's topic, we believe it's a timely topic and a current topic. Some of you may see it already at the along with this post as the heading. We're talking about social media and the effects that it can have on marriage, and we believe this is a real issue in today's marriages, and it affects a lot of people, and so we want to give you some insights on it, and hopefully give you some things to think about that will help you protect your marriage from the dangers of social media, and also help you to strengthen it using social media. So right. That'll be what our discussion tonight will be about.
All right, with that said, we just like to do our formal introduction. Just want to thank y'all for attending Marriage Mondays with Nick and Trina Brinson. We just want to thank the Bishop and the First Lady for their continued support and allowing us to bring this message to you on a weekly basis. We don't take this responsibility lightly. We ask that you continue to pray for us in our relationship as we pray for you before we come on at night and throughout the week. So with that said, we would just like to share our topic with you and talk about this thing called social media. Now, when social media first started for us, it was more like the pages. What were the pages called? People were getting their MySpace. Yes, we experienced MySpace in my time, but then Facebook came along, and then the things that came after Facebook, Instagram, and all those other ones, and they have really affected how you grow up, how you think, some of the information that you get. And we just thought that it would be a timely topic to talk to you about and how this really affects your marriages. Because a lot of young marriages don't know marriage without Facebook and what it actually involves. And you may not have thought about how Facebook affects your marriage. But us coming from where the age that we are, going into the Facebook age, we can see the pitfalls that come from being too involved in Facebook while you're married.
Well, and it's much like the effects that social media has on children. It's a whole new set of problems from a different angle than what we experience firsthand as children growing up. And so it's important for us with children, as well as with our marriages, as well as in our work life. We have to look at how all these new developments affect our lives now, because we don't have that pattern coming from our parents. Our parents don't have any experience in how social media affects marriage and relationships, because they haven't had to deal with that until now. And the same is, for growing up as well as in the workplace. The workplace has changed. You remember when we had started, I think it started in college, it became mandatory while we were in as learning as educators. My program, even though I'm a speech therapist, my program is an educational model. Speech therapists are trained as educational professionals and medical professionals, but your program is either one or the other, even though you get both training. My program is an education-based program. And so the program that I'm in, you remember when I transferred from Southern to Valdosta State, I had to take some technology classes that were not offered at Southern. The educational program that I was moving into for speech pathology, everybody in education had to have a basic understanding of computer skills and how to use those computer skills in the classroom. And so that was just a way of, and that was really prior to, I don't even think we had a school email at that point.
That was real long and complicated. The school emails we had back then.
I don't remember even using school email for hardly anything when we were in college. And that was mid to late 90s.
Right.
And now, I mean, from elementary school, if you have an elementary student, your child probably has an email that's used very actively by the school district. From the age of 5 or 6 years old, kids are given email accounts as a standard way of moving through school.
Right.
And Google Classroom, oh my gosh, I mean, we're just looking at education alone, and then even looking at the medical field, EMRs, those electronic medical records, that's the standard, and in some offices file cabinets don't exist anymore. Everything is electronic. So my point is that the technology advances that we have encountered in the last, I'll say 30 to 40 years, have made this world a different place.
Right.
And marriages have been affected.
Right. And just understand this, even though technology is keeping us connected with one another, it shouldn't be used too much to connect your marriage. Because marriage is one of those things where you need two people together. You got to actually have physical touch with each other and have close contact with another being to grow closer with each other. I mean, there are some basic things you can do with technology, and we're going to talk about those tonight, that keep your marriage close. But just understand this, technology cannot make your marriage close. It can help you become closer, but you need each other in a small space, or you see each other on a daily basis to make your marriage what it needs to be.
There has to be boundaries. That's the bottom line, is we can't let the technology take over certain parts of our marriage. I mean, we are certainly in favor of embracing the technology in a positive way, but we have to be able to take the good and the bad and be able to sort through it in order to protect our marriage.
Right.
And I add one more thing before we go on, because I thought this was important to say. That technology, honestly, is neither good nor bad. It is what you make it. And when you don't understand the purpose of a thing, then abuse is going to be inevitable, in the words of Miles Monroe. And the same is true for the technology. If you don't have a specific purpose for it in your relationship, hey, Mama. I see her saying hello, Nick and Trina.
Hey, Mommy.
So, hey. But you have to understand the purpose of something for you, or else it will be, you can't help but to abuse it. So we want you to become intentional. If you've been mindless with your use of technology before tonight, we want you to leave this conversation being intentional.
Yeah, so we're going to discuss the positive and negative effects of technology. Negative effects means the things that can happen to your marriage that cause it to break up, possibly. And the positive effects are things that you can do to protect your marriage. The scripture base that I can come from tonight with this is Ephesians 4:29. Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up, as it fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Basically, what I'm saying with that is, when you're posting or when you are involved with technology, make sure you're not involved in corrupt relationships with people when you're posting on Facebook, or how you involve yourself on Facebook. Make sure everything that you're doing is something that can build people up, and especially build up your marriage. And we're going to discuss that in detail tonight as we go through the lesson. So first of all, we're going to talk about a published study. You want to read the study that we came up with? All right. The study that we came out with, it says that it's a published study in the Journal of Cyber Psychology, Behavior, and Social Network, and found that being on Facebook once an hour or more, you're likely to experience Facebook-related conflicts. Then it goes on to say that in those conflicts, those that lead to the in the divorce state, when people are getting divorced, it's almost like now it's 1 in 3 people that are getting divorced are getting divorced because of stuff they've actually done on Facebook. So of the divorce people, of the divorce rate, 33% people are getting divorced from that.
Well, there's something about Facebook related. Right. It didn't say that was the cause of it.
Right. It was Facebook related.
Yeah, there's some Facebook drama entangled in to the problems that the couple was having.
So that's one reason we came up with these topics tonight. The negative impact. You want to start addressing those?
Some of the negative impacts of social media include, first, that it's an unhealthy distraction. It is, we welcome it in. That's the thing that's so crazy about it. When you have these alerts going off on your phone, or every time there's a notification about some group that you're in, or your friends are posting on Facebook, and these things keep pinging on your phone and coming up, or even if they aren't pinging, you look at your phone and you got 25 notifications, and you're spending time going through and catching up with what everybody did and whose birthday it is, and I got to send a little birthday message to this one. These distractions all throughout the day keeps your mind just going in all kind of different directions. You're not focused. And when and that type of unhealthy distraction is so time consuming. I mean, you can eat away. Y'all know it's so easy to eat away time on your phone with Facebook, and then you look up and you hadn't accomplished a thing. Right. It could be an hour or more, and for you to look up and realize that you really just all you've done is spent time on Facebook, find out whatever it is people want you to know that's on Facebook.
Right.
And it's an unhealthy distraction, and when you're focused on a distraction, you're not focused on what's good for you or what is healthy, the things that you need to be distracted with, which would be your family, your work, your growth, those things that you need to focus on. Even children. I mean, children can be a distraction, but it's a healthy distraction. You know, you're building something when you're training children and raising children. They can be distractions too, but it's a healthy distraction versus investing time in Facebook when you don't get a return on that time.
Right.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Also, we talked about this, is that what happens very often when you're, and we don't mean to pick on Facebook, you know, because we on Facebook today.
Right now.
So we're not picking on Facebook. We really are talking YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any kind of social communication that allows you to receive information from a source outside yourself. I will say that. Those social things, y'all know what social media is. So social interactions that are electronic. It's not a real person right there with you. Excuse me. And 9 times out of 10, and you got to get it through your phone. Don't come through a book. It doesn't come through a personal conversation. It comes through some type of electronic device. So forgive me if I'm just saying Facebook, but I really do mean social media as a whole. So what happens is you can have seeds that are sown that produce weeds in your life. And what I mean by that, if you think of your life as in a comparison to a garden, if you use that analogy, if you will, of your life as a garden, you're going to come up with a lot of seeds if you're being receptive. Did I say weeds or seeds?
Seeds.
What I meant was weeds.
Okay.
You'll end up with a lot of weeds in your garden when you keep receiving that information, because words are seeds, information are seeds. When you are constantly receiving information from Facebook, and it's random, those commercials pop up, all these thoughts are being put into your head that are not strategically designed for your good. They are strategically designed to keep you thinking about whatever the marketing professionals want you to purchase.
Right.
So you've got that, plus all the information that you're reading about people's lives, which may or may not be of any value to you at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because before we had these devices, y'all, we didn't know every detail about what was going on in our friends' lives. And if we wanted to know, we had to have a conversation with them. We had to go to their house and visit with them. We would talk with them about those personal things, the children's birthday party, or, you know, whatever the kids' accomplishments or whatever. That's the kind of stuff we would get by saying, "Hey girl, what's going on with you? I hadn't seen you in so long. Catch me up. Tell me what's going on. How your baby's doing." I'm sorry you're not a girl, but I'm just giving an example. You know, when your friends are on social media, it takes away that opportunity for you to talk to them about real life issues and having that conversation. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, you've got, like I say, these commercials popping up, and you've got all these things on your brain and in your mind that you're thinking about, and it can end up producing fruit in your life that you had no idea those seeds and suggestions had been planted based on all this random stuff that you've been exposed to.
And also, one more topic that we're going to talk about, we got several more, is subtopic for as negative impact.
Oh, okay.
Believing the lie, because a lot of stuff people put on Facebook, it's a captured moment,
right? And
you don't really see the whole picture of what's going on in a person's life. They show you exactly what they want you to see, and once you people have a tendency, just human nature, is to compare themselves to somebody on Facebook. A close friend that you hadn't seen in a while, and you see this person might have gotten a new car. But here's the thing, you don't know what it cost that person to get that new car. Mm-hmm. You just see that the glamour and glitz of that new car or a brand new house. You don't know what that person had to do to get that house.
Yeah.
You don't know if they living paycheck to paycheck, or they just got that house, or renting that house, or on an Airbnb spot. You don't know. So my plea to you is, don't believe the lie. You know, use your use your relationship to being an influence to other people as far as, you know, a truth. Because when people just give you a snapshot of their life, you don't know the whole picture.
And it's not that they necessarily intend to only give you that little bit. That just may be what they're what they want to share. They just want to share that highlight. But what happens just with human nature is very often it's so easy for jealousy to become a factor when you start comparing versus just being happy for that person. You know, it really is okay just to be happy for that person and give them some congratulations and move on. But when you're constantly thinking about, you know, well, seem like they get all the blessings. Seem like we always struggling. They over there living the good life. They done been on vacation 3 times this year. You know, and that's not really a train of thought that is going to be edifying to your relationship. And that comparison, I mean, it's a horrible thing. But it's not everybody is mature to the point that they can celebrate for others without feeling the pressure of comparison. And you honestly have to know yourself enough to know whether or not you need to be on Facebook or on social media looking at all the things that are happening if it's only going to get you to a place of sadness or depression or comparison, and you thinking they live in so much better, especially with relationships. Right. Because when you see it seem like they always doing something big for their anniversary. They always happy. They always you don't know what's going on.
Don't have a clue.
In those people's home. You also don't know what they have previously worked through, what they might previously be going through. The people could be on the verge of divorce, and they took that relationship trying to save their relationship.
The vacation.
That could have been what do you call it, like a counseling retreat or something. Yeah. I mean, you just don't know. And the best way to safeguard your mind is for you to spend time focusing on your mind and how you process, these things that we come across with, and limiting it, which we'll talk about the positive impacts. But that negative, that's a big one. That comparison, the jealousy that can come from just looking at a snapshot of somebody's life and developing your own thoughts about that. It's just not healthy.
And this one I've have discussed with friends and heard some people talk about is being unfaithful on Facebook, because Facebook is an avenue that you could possibly use to be unfaithful. If you have a proclivity, that means you have a knack or an unction to be unfaithful in your relationship, Facebook may not be the place you wanna venture onto, because my wife said something to me. What did you say?
I had to explain to him what people meant when they are, sliding into your DMs. He didn't know what a DM was.
Right.
So, and other people might not either. It's a direct message. And what I was explaining to him is the dangers with the direct messaging is that anybody can go to you and get access to you directly. They don't have to have your phone number. All they have, somebody was laughing at you. I thought it was funny too. Wow. He didn't know what I was talking about. But that's good. I guess. I don't know. But anyway, direct messaging is, that person can give a comment directly to another person. They don't have to know you. They don't have to have your phone number. Only thing they need is if they have Facebook Messenger, they can go directly to your there's a place on Facebook where you can do direct messaging. I think it used to be called Instant Messenger back in the day, before Facebook became quite popular. But it will allow them to speak direct, have access to you through Facebook. They don't have to ask you for your phone number, and they can send pictures. They can send their phone number. They can send whatever message they want to send, and it appears to be private. That's the danger of it.
Oh, okay.
And that's why people will say, like, sliding into somebody's DM, because it's kind of slick.
Yeah, that's
you're trying to get access where perhaps maybe you shouldn't. If it's misused, like I said, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, it's easy to abuse it. It's inevitable that it will be abused. But very often that's what people will do if they're trying to be deceptive, or if they're trying to get someone's attention that maybe they shouldn't be trying to seek. And they will send maybe inappropriate messages or inappropriate pictures to try to get a person's attention, to get audience with that person privately. And that's where it's very common for there to be some the beginnings of some unwholesome
behavior. Conversations.
because it's the privacy, I think, that gets people.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't put this in our notes, but we didn't even talk about pornography and how easy it is to access pornography through social media, because that's a real problem in a lot of relationships. And so we didn't even add that. We just didn't think to talk about it.
Pornography is an issue, but when you're talking about Facebook and all those media outlets like Twitter, you get pictures that pop up. It may not be a naked woman, but she's pretty close to it. Mm. And those things just pop up and come on your feed if you're friends of a friend of a friend. So, when those things pop up, you immediately just get rid of that information and don't let it sink into your spirit. But you have a proclivity for that type of...
Right, but you have to put safeguards in place. If you already know that that's something that is an issue for you personally, go ahead and put some safeguards in place. Mm-hmm. Whether that's what do you call what's the right word, like for a filter? I don't know the right word, where it like protects you, like a safety net, like you can put it on your kid's phone, or
right.
Even something there. I know there are apps out there, y'all, that are for blocking. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. Blocking out things that you don't want to come through, and you may have to do those for yourself if that's an issue.
Right.
And I do say for yourself, because it's not your spouse's job to be your police. Right. We all grown. Everybody got to be their own. What does she say? Filter or block? Yeah, I just didn't have the right words for it. But I wish we had talked about that last night to cover that a little bit more in depth. We just didn't think of it. But those are some of the negative impacts and influences that you need to be aware of. The key bottom line is we want you to be aware of those things so that you can put some some guardrails in place for yourself to guard against those things impacting your relationship.
All right.
Let me say one more thing. I'm thinking so much while we're talking.
Well, see, what we may have to do is split this up into 2 different sessions.
Oh, because we're
and come back to the positive side next week. Yes.
Well, then let me say this about the negative side of it. Then another thing is comments. Y'all, people can be so cutthroat and negative in their comments on any kind of thread of interest, or if you see most videos on YouTube and very often on Facebook, people will add in comments, and people can be very ugly. I think there's a sense of a little bit of anonymity with Facebook, or people can hide behind their social identity and really just be very dangerous with their words. And I think we have to guard against becoming that person, and we have to guard against receiving what the people are saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, with that said, you had a discussion about, what you like on Facebook. The pictures, the comments, the information that's online. Mm-hmm. Watch what you like. Because you can see a picture of a female friend that you had in college, and she was like, okay, this is a nice picture of her, and you can like that picture, and I don't know the code of whether you're liking a picture to say I want to have a conversation with you, or we want to have a more intimate discussion. But watch what you're liking, and watch how you commenting on the opposite genders Facebook accounts.
There have been lots of I've seen things on social media about, or debates even, about opposite liking something, especially for women being upset because their spouse may have liked or loved a picture of a woman. Why does that have to be a debate in your household? Excuse me, I've been sneezing all day. So my question is, why would you let that come into your relationship to be something worth discussing, regardless of what your view of it is? Some people have the view that it's just a picture, it don't matter if the lady look nice, she look nice, and some women have the perception of, well, why are you liking another woman's? Why are you post? Why are you giving that? Why is that? Why does that even have to be a debate in your house?
Well, see, I would think the relationship, the experiences that those two have shared. Mm-hmm.
What about him?
As far as has he had some infidelity and some moments of?
See, I feel like that's irrelevant. I feel like it's all like, why are we even discussing this other person? I mean, I guess you have to find out what's going to keep peace in your household.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And to me, it would make sense to just not comment on anything with the opposite gender. That would make sense to me. Just to cut down on confusion, that would be my personal take on it. Is let's just err on the side of caution.
And see, then next week we'll talk about ways to protect your marriage from Facebook and setting the boundaries. That's a boundary you and your wife to set. Look here, let's just not comment on information of the opposite gender. Have that discussion. If that's something that bothers you, have that discussion, please.
And if neither of you are offended at what your spouse likes or doesn't like, then that can be understood as well.
Right.
But the bottom line is, why are we discussing this third person? Period. Why aren't we focused on building our relationship and making it better instead of us spending time on something so arbitrary?
Right.
It's not going to make our relationship any better. It's just going to feed insecurities if insecurities are there.
Right.
And that's not what we want to do. So I think we can't really ignore social media and the impact that it has.
Oh, social media is here to stay.
And it's only going to evolve.
Yes.
And become more intense and evolve to something more. 20 years from now, we'll be talking about something totally different.
Right.
Because who could have imagined we would be talking about this today? Looking at 20 years ago.
I didn't.
No, not at all. I didn't even think MySpace was that significant when it came out.
No.
I would hear about people to MySpace page, but it just...
You just roll off your back and you just keep it moving.
I just didn't think much of it. I was trying to get my college degrees. To be honest, I didn't have time to be adding on anything else in my graduate program.
But like my wife said, we say this here and it's here to stay, and you got to be aware. So that's what we're here to do, to make you aware of some of the things you probably hadn't thought of, especially with these young marriages that are starting to happen. This is something that's really weaved into your lifestyle. So you're really gonna have to face the music when you're talking about Facebook and all these other social media platforms.
Yeah. So think about between now and this next week, we're going to talk about some of the positive impacts and ways that social media can actually help promote the health of your marriage. So that'll give you something to kind of think about between now and then, because you may come up with more than what we did. Because even though social media has been around for quite a while now, a lot of this we came up with just conversation between the two of us. So I think there's probably a lot more out there that you all can contribute to this conversation as well. We are certainly open to that. And
it's a lot of it's really a brand new topic of discussion, because it's the time that social media has been created, they're starting to study the effects of it. Right. So it's a lot of new information. Yeah. So let's just continue to be aware of some of the things we brought up tonight, that you can think about and maybe implement in your marriage to bring about some peace, because that's what we're all about, trying to create peace in your marriage. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily how to tell you how to run your marriage, but to create peace so your marriage can last. Yeah. All right? Yeah. I'll say, the more we talk about this, the more I think of. But I would also recommend... Huh? You weren't looking at the people. Well, my contact lens is giving me a fit over here, so I'm trying to deal with it discreetly without digging in my eye. Okay? That's what's up. So anyway, thanks for bringing attention to it. And so what I was going to say is I think it's healthy to come up with some boundaries for yourself. And I emphasize for yourself, because it's not your job to parent your spouse. But it's very important for you to come up with some boundaries for yourself to govern your own behavior with social media. If social media has every bit of your free time, I encourage you to re-examine what you're doing with your free time. What are you doing
with that time that you're spending on social media, that could actually be moving towards making your marriage healthy. Put the phone down. Talk to and with your spouse, to and with your children, to and with your coworkers, to and with your friends and family. Pick up the phone and call them sometimes. I'm not a big phone talker, a person to talk on the phone, but it just is a lot more personal to have a phone conversation, or even FaceTime is that much more personal. Even though that's I guess a positive way to use social media, but let's not forget that human impact that we have on one another. I mean, you can't touch people over social media, and that's important.
All right. That's your last comment?
Unless I think so.
Okay. Well, with that said, we just want to thank y'all for tuning in with us tonight. Just want to tell you about some things going on at Crown. This week, our bishop has taken a vacation, and he won't be on this week, as far as we know at the moment. He needs to get some well-needed rest because he's basically been on all long time. What been on?
Let's just say what we have going.
See how she's trying to control my broadcast.
Well, you're doing a lot.
I just got to do what I got to do.
All right.
All right. So we'll be back on Sunday with our broadcast on Facebook at 10 o'clock. And from then, we may have masterclass if he's the one that's giving the sermon. But we just want to thank you for joining us.
Masterclass.
Well, there's no masterclass.
That's why I told you keep it simple. We'll see y'all next week for Marriage Monday. We don't know all the other details. It's okay.
See how I'm looking at her? Love y'all from the lady and the coach. Bye-bye.
Good night.